I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Team Philadelphia. You know how much I love you and how much I appreciate you. Thank you. Listen, for the first time in my life, I am totally unprepared. I'm not sure what will come out of my mouth today. I'm not sure what you can expect from me at this particular day, only because grief is probably one of the most incredibly awful feelings in the world. And I realize something. You know, when people are going through grief, it's hard to know what to say. You don't know how to say the right thing at the right time, and we often say the wrong thing at the right time. And I get all types of things like, hey, hope you're feeling better. And I just want to let you guys know I didn't have the flu, I didn't have COVID. I was struggling. And it's sometimes easier, and I know most people just don't even mean any harm. It's easier to just say, I'm thinking of you. Or I'm praying for you. Because it's an awful, awful feeling. And you're filled with things that you're normally not filled with: anger, denial, negotiating, bargaining. 5 more minutes. I just want 5 more minutes with him. Can I have 5 more minutes? And you're angry. And you're sad. So although I can't tell you what to expect from what I say up here in my heart, just because I have a broken heart, I want you to understand something. We are not broken. This company is not broken. This company is not broken. It is better than ever. There's not a damn thing wrong with us. Not a damn thing. A broken heart can't break a company. A broken heart can't break a company that J.R. Ridinger built for 30 years. It just can't. Think about that. In the last 6 months, I've done 5 Asia Pacific conventions. Just in 6 months. I have not stopped working. There was never a day since my husband passed that I didn't get out of bed. I got up every day. I took a shower. Doesn't mean I didn't fall apart by noon, but I got up every day because I felt JR pushing me to get up every day and to do what he taught me to do, which is to show up. And that's what I've done. So please, don't use my husband's death, as Joe said, to not build the business. Don't let it be your excuse. It's you if you don't do it. It's only on you. I hope you use his life and his death to bring you to your destiny. I truly do, because he worked for 31 years, and I don't know anybody else who would give as much as he did. Did you see the things that he did for 31 years on this stage? On arenas all over the world? Who sticks their head in a toilet bowl? Who runs a hamster wheel? Who cries with you like a real man? J.R. was a real man. I love you too. I am so grateful for all of you.
Thank you, Loren.
I love you. Thank you. I want you to know that everything JR did was for everybody other than himself. He never asked for things. He never wanted for things. He never complained about things. And I think Andrew and Dana said it so well the other day. All JR ever wanted to do was for you to be successful and for me to be happy. Those were the two things he ever really wanted. And the great news was I was always happy. For 36 years, 3.5 decades, I see you guys. I spent my life with the person I love. So for the next 30 years, or 40, Amber, or 50, I'm going to be right here with you. And I'm going to lead this company as he asked me to. And I'm going to do exactly as he asked me to do, which is lead this company and this team from the front of the stage and show you how it's done. And I'm going to do it with you. And we're going to build. And I'm going to show the plan with you. And I'm going to do the wheelbarrow with you. And we're going to break the clock today together. And we're going to do all the things we're supposed to do together. Are we in? Are we all in? Let me hear you. Let me hear you. I love you. All in. I'm all in with you guys. Every bit of me is all in with you guys. I want to tell you, the last 6 months, it takes a village. In my lifetime, I have been the matriarch. I have taken care of my family, my team, my husband. Baby, it's time to get up. What do we want for breakfast, Dara? Eggs Benedict or scrambled eggs? Eggs up, eggs down. Which do you want, baby? Every single day for 36 years. What do you want to wear today, honey? Which shoes, which shirt, which jeans? Andrew's laughing because it's true. Every day of my life. Those are the things I miss every day. Don't take advantage of the small things. They are the big things. Don't forget about the small things. They make all the difference. All the little things. Honey, can you help me pick out a shirt? Honey, do you mind getting me my breakfast? Honey, do you mind helping me? Baby, can you help me? The paper's jammed in the printer. That happened at least 4 times a day, right, Andrew? And we spent 6 months of our 36 years together looking for keys. Amber spent the other 6 months with him looking for his phone. But we did it with him, and he was happy. It takes a village. I used to be the village. I used to be the village. So I need to take a moment first before I talk to you to thank my family who has been here with me. First, I want to start with Mark, and I will talk a little bit later about some things. But I first want to thank you, Mark, because you're not only my brother, you're certainly the greatest president this company will ever see. There's nobody better than you. Nobody better than you. I love you with all my heart. I think the only person who probably, because we grew up very close in my house. I think I told you on Thursday, the interesting thing about grief is you forget everything every day. Everything you did yesterday, when I had the best memory on the planet. Most people know that about me. But I think I told you on Thursday that my mother died at 43 years old at our first convention. And we grew up as a very close-knit family. Stevie, Mark, Brandy, and I. And I think Brandy's here. Is my sister here? And Mark was there for me on that awful day of August 30th. And he's been there for me every single day since. And you know, it's interesting because you have a lot of friends. You know, there's a lot of people around you. But they don't all show up when you think they're going to show up. And so, Mark always showed up every single day. every single day from that awful day, made me get in the shower, made me get out of bed, made me put on my clothes, change my clothes. True. Amber called him and said, can you sit in there and make sure my mom's okay? Because remember, I was in Croatia and Amber was here in the United States. How awful that is to not be with your mom and your dad when this goes on. You have to understand, we are a very close family. It's the first trip ever in mine and JR's history since the children have been born that Amber was not with us. So Amber's calling everybody and telling them, hey, make sure you stay outside the room, Mark and Maria, to make sure that mom's okay. Make sure that she's okay. Make sure that you can see her. Is she breathing okay? If I was falling asleep, is she breathing okay? Because I can't imagine how scared she was. Then I woke up and I called her. I said, baby, just so you know, I'm breathing. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm okay. I'm just terribly sad. I was broken into pieces. But I can't imagine how awful that felt for her. Being alone at that moment where she couldn't be with her dad, who he worshiped her. And so, Mark, I love you and thank you for always being here for us. And I got to tell you, you're not only there for me as a brother, but you really, truly are the greatest president this company will ever see. And I know it's just the beginning for you here. And, of course, Maria, of course, that goes without saying. You were there too. Truman, I see you there. Truman, can you stand up for a second? Because maybe not everybody knows you. Truman was with us in Croatia and has been one of JR's best friends for more than 30 years and spent 40 minutes giving JR CPR. You know how hard that is to give your best friend CPR? It's awful. And we're all in grief counseling. We've been in grief counseling for a long time. I'm still in grief counseling 3 days a week, still doing what I have to do every single day to survive, to make sure that I'm okay in my heart, because I know my head's going to be okay for you. But I got to heal my broken heart. And then, of course, there's Mary and Natalia. There you are right there. I love you guys so much. It's like Amber, I think, has them on a babysitting shifting, like a schedule shifts. You know, for the first, it's been 6 months yesterday. And it's interesting because grief is one of these weird things. It's like you want to feel better, but you don't want time to go by because you don't want the distance to be created between you. But I want you to know, honey, where's that photo that I asked to stay up there till I'm ready? I don't want that photo to change till I'm ready for it to change. I don't care about that photo. Can we put that photo up? Thank you. Let's leave that photo up. He stays there with me. I'd like JR to stay right here with me, because JR's going to stay with me forever. There's nobody in my love story ever than JR Ridinger. And I am far too young to be a widow, but let me tell you something. I've only been married once, exactly how I'll stay. I'll be married only to this man for the rest of my life. Forever. But Mary and Natalia, you've taken care of me. You, Gio, too. Slept with me, cared for me, cried with me, sat around the bathroom toilet while I vomited sick from pain for the last 6 months. And I love you guys so much for that. And I'm so grateful for you. I've never been to a convention on my own, and they even came to the hotel to sleep with me. That's what kind of friends I have. And I love you guys. And Jennifer Lopez, I have to call you out because she FaceTimes me every single night. Every single night. Let's talk it through. And I know she's busy, and I know she's asking for this video, so I'm going to call you out because she's done an amazing job showing up. Really amazing. Lorena, I love you. Every single night, you and Fat Joe have been with me, called me, FaceTimed me, made sure I was okay. Some people say they'll do it and others don't do it. Sometimes your closest family, associates, people don't even call you, don't even check on you. Not Lorena and Fat Joe. Every single week, 3 times a week, he doesn't just call me, he FaceTimes me just to make sure I'm okay. I know he doesn't have time to do that, but he did it for me. And I love you guys so much. And Serena Williams, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the greatest tennis player of all time. One of my greatest, best friends of all time. You have been exactly where I am through pain and grief. And there's not a day, a week that goes by that she doesn't check in with me, that she doesn't send me messages, scriptures, just things to keep me going. And you have to understand that she suffered greatly when Jared passed, because Jared loved her. Jared's last story ever posted on his Instagram was about Serena. I see everybody nodding because they saw it. We've been friends for literally 20 or 30 years. First night we met was with Michael Jackson at dinner. Do you remember that? Those are the type of legendary nights we live, folks. You're the greatest of all time, not only the greatest tennis player of all time, one of the greatest friends that anyone could ever ask for, and I love you. I'm grateful for you, thankful for you, and reminds me every day that I will see JR again. And I love you for that. You're right, I will. And I suppose the most important is Amber, the person who's switched roles with me. The one I always worried about, cared for, made sure she was okay, is now doing the reverse and doing the same for me. And it's interesting when your child becomes like a mother to you. Amber, I love you. I'm getting stronger every day. And you don't have to worry, I'm always going to be here. Always. And I love you. And I'm so, so proud of you, and so proud of the woman you've become, and so proud of what you've stepped up to be. And you're doing exactly what your dad wanted you to do, which is step up. She's been promoted to a vice president of this organization and earned it and deserves it. And we're proud of her. She deserves that. Her dad gave that to her right before she passed away. Right before he passed away. I'm proud of you and I love you. The best is yet to come. Jared is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Gave all of himself. And so I asked myself, is there a way ever to prepare for anything like this? No, there's not. There's no way to prepare for anything like this. But I'm going to do and give my very best to you. That's all I can do. And so here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to spend about an hour with you. And I hope that you feel like at that end of that hour, I've given you some value because you're giving me your time. And I want you to understand how precious time is. So if you're giving me your time, and I want you to value your time, it's so important that I give you something in exchange for it. I want you to learn to value your life, value your time. So I'm going to deliver for you today because it's a major responsibility for me. I want to make sure you get your money's worth. I want you to say you got full value. So what's happening right now? My broken heart, as I said, has nothing to do with the future of this company. I'm here to stay. I'm getting stronger every day. I know exactly what to do. JR outlined everything. I never thought, just so you guys know, I never thought that JR would die before me. Never. I'm the one with the brain aneurysm. I'm the one who had breast cancer issues. I'm the one that we've dealt with so many medical problems that some we've shared, some we didn't. Some went on the journey with us. We never discussed those things with everybody. My mom's the one who died at 43. My dad's the one who died at 63. My husband's parents lived till nearly 100. His grandmother lived till 104 30 years ago. I did not expect to be here, nor did I want to be here alone. So if you don't mind, we're going to do this together, you and me, baby. Me and you, we're going to do this together. And everything that's happened to you up until this point of your life, everything that's happened to you in your life up until this moment, the places you've been, the places you want to go, where you haven't been, the things you want to do, the things that you've let stop you from doing it, are not so much a result of all the big choices you've made in your life. It's a result of a lot of little choices you've made in your life. It's a result of a lot of little choices you've made in your life over a period of time. And those are the patterns and the messages that you've gotten yourself into that we've got to shift and we've got to change. And you know, JR and I were big believers. It's always interesting to Andrew and I, because when JR would speak on stage and I would speak on stage, for about 2 weeks before a conference, he and I would hardly talk. He would stay in one room, I'd stay in another room. We'd come back out at the middle of the night to have dinner together, and he'd say, hey, what are you working on? You know, what do you think you're going to talk about? I'll say, I'll let you know tomorrow. Let me think about it. And we'd go through it. Before we come together, right before the event, we'd both be talking about similar things. Operating on people's brain, programming yourself to be a hopeless success. But the problem is that we've programmed, some of us, some of you have programmed your subconscious mind to believe you can't do the things you want to do. And you stop yourself. And you don't get there. And you don't realize that we have to do the work, deprogram our brain and reprogram it. Think about that. Do you know what the weakest muscle of the body is? You know what the weakest muscle of the body is? Yes, ma'am. Lorena said it. It's the brain. Did you know that? The brain has a small muscle in it, and it is the weakest muscle of the body. That's why we got to reprogram it. It's not strong. Now, here's a little tip that JR and I used to do to help you get the brain strong. JR, I know you're going to love I tell him this. That's okay. You don't mind if I talk to him, right? I talk to him every day, all day and night. Right, Sean? I talk to JR all day and night. We used to do a thing in our house. If it's a 7 or below, don't put any energy into it. Rate everything. 7 or below, don't give it any energy. 7 or above, focus on it, handle it, and knock it out of the park. Get it out of your way. So when the little things are the things that are consuming your life, have somebody else handle them, or in fact, ignore them. Because all it's doing is slowing you from getting where you need to be. You really need to stop seeing everything as an emergency, because when you deal with a real emergency like I'm dealing with right now, in my heart, in my mind, in my head, that's what a real emergency is. See, we make all these crises that have happened in our life, and most of them have never happened. Think about that. You'll catch that one on the way home, right? You'll catch that one on the way home. You create all these emergencies in your brain, and you can't do anything. You freeze, right, Lars? They can't do anything. They can't act. What you got to do is change how you think. We have been programmed, just like JR said. I love listening to these videos of JR. Thank God for videos. Do you know how lucky we are that we have thousands of audios and videos of JR for the rest of our life that can feed our mind and our brain and our heart? It's incredible. I've talked to so many friends who have lost people that they love who don't have that. We are fortunate to have that. So if it's a 7 or below, don't give it any energy. It's not worth your time. Prioritize what goes up here. And I know that you're here for a reason. You deserve this. You want to make it. And by the way, 2023 will be one of the best stellar years we've ever had. It will be. And it can be your year too. It'll be your year too. But let me ask you a question. What will it take for you to make a choice today that's in alignment with your goals and dreams? What is it? And I mean the get up early. I mean the give up a cup of coffee at Starbucks to save money if that's what the issue is for you. To give up the extra, the Netflix, the shopping, the dinners if you need some extra money. Give up sleep if you really want to make it. Because you got to sleep less if you want to go for it. You got to put in that time. You know how Damon talked about it? I've said it before. JR said it all the time. From the 6 p.m. to the midnight, if you're working for somebody else 9 to 5, 6 p.m. to midnight should be the time you work on your hustle. You got to go for it. You got to make it happen. You can't make any more excuses. Let me tell you something. Nobody gives you a memo when your time's up. Nobody notifies you. Nobody tells you you got 6 hours left. What will it take for you to wake up earlier and do what you need to do in order to make this business work for you? You know, you're not required to make the same choice today that you did yesterday. Whatever you do today can be different than what you've done before. Lisa, by the way, you did a great job today on stage. Great job. You don't need anyone's permission. You got to stop worrying about what other people think. Because let me tell you something. When you stop worrying about what other people think about you, all types of shit will break loose and shit will start to happen. You will start making it. You will start doing it. People get so twisted. They listen to worrying about what their friends think. If you only worried about how little they think about you, you wouldn't worry about it. Loren and I say it all the time. People don't think about you like that. You're confused. Stop worrying about what people think. They ain't thinking about you like that. You need to have a circle like I have. Get that circle around you. Never leave this atmosphere and stay within it. This is the type of positive thinking that the world needs more of. The support, the love, the all-in, the admiration, the lifting up. That's what the world needs. This is all about you. This has got to be about you. It's all about you. This isn't if the company will make it. The company's making it. We're better than we've ever been before. This guy's standing over me going every day. Every day I wake up, I do the same thing every morning. I first reach over to touch the pillow to see if for some reason I had a bad dream. Then I realize I didn't. Then I open up my blinds and I hear JR say, "Get up. It's time to get up." And I get up and I get a shower and I'll go in his office and I'll pull out a file. And the week before I came here, when I didn't know what I was going to say, I told Andrew, I have no idea what I'm going to say. I'm going to go into JR's office for a few minutes. I'm going to sit there. Baby, I'm going to sit on you right now. And I went into his office and I pulled out a file. And I said, you know what? I'm going to talk about this today. I got material for the rest of my life. I'm not sharing his notes with anybody. No, I share them with everybody. And by the way, I know what it's like to be JR finally, the last person to speak. Everybody's already said anything, got to repeat everything. But he never minded, and nor do I. Don't worry about what other people think. You got to make it. You got to do this for yourself. Your dreams cannot be delayed forever. Anybody ever see King Richard? Serena, the story of Serena's dad. Anybody seen King Richard? Let me hear from you. Yeah, amazing. Amazing. The story of a champion. But the story of Richard, a guy who was relentless, never quit, never gave up, never gave in, put up with garbage in the neighborhood, did what he had to do, fought their way to push them in front, made sure people watched them, fought for them. Was a great example of what it's like to push people in the right direction, to show them what you can be, because you can be anything you want to be as long as you put your mind to it. Serena Williams is the greatest of all time. Venus Williams was one of the greatest of all time. And it's all because she had somebody believe in her from the start. That doesn't mean it can't happen for you too. Just because you didn't have Richard doesn't mean you can't get yourself up. Stop making excuses. Listen, you cannot control what's happened to you in your life. Somebody kicked you down, that's awful. It's not your fault. But if you stay down, it's on you. If you stay down, it's on you. If you stay down, thank you. If you stay down, it's on you. Thank you, guys. If you stay down, it's on you. You don't have to stay down. You can get up. It's your move. In your mind right now, it's your move. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to show up? You're going to make a wish? Or are you going to make it happen? That's what you have to say to yourself. Am I going to make a wish? Or am I going to make it happen? Let me hear you. You're going to make it happen. You know why? Because you cannot tolerate being in a room of failure forever. It is okay to fail. We must fail in order to succeed. But you cannot stay there. If you stay down, it's on you. Whatever happened to you before is not your fault. But if you stay down, Lorena, right, it's on them. They got to get up. You got to get up and do this with me. If I can get up out of bed and be here today, you can get up and do this with me. You can do this with me. I love you guys. I love you. You can do this with me. We can do it together. We can do it together. Because you're going to rise and go further than you've ever done in your life. Ever done in your life. And I want you to look in the mirror. I want you to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I finally realized I'm more than the image that's in the mirror. I'm so much more. And that there's enough fire in me. And even everything you've been through, everything that's gone wrong for you, everything that's went the opposite way that you expected, that you can see your value. And there's so much more than you've seen. There's so much more. And it's time for you to step up, put your fears and doubts aside. Let me tell you something. I've talked, and Jair's talked about 3 things for 30 years together from this stage. They all have 3 themes. Everybody knows what they are. Time, love, and death. When you break down all of our presentations, just Fat Joe will tell you. Right, Joe? 3 themes for 30 years. Time, love, and death. Why time? We all want more of it. Why love? The universal language. We all want more love. And death? It's the only thing we all have in common. We're all going to die. The only thing everybody absolutely has in common. Jair used to say everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. I know this guy's up there. He's a master soul. This guy's up there teaching everybody things that they've never dreamed of. They gave him a big crown when he got up there. They gave him a great big crown. He's leading the way, holding master classes, right, Tammy, up there? He's an angel. He's an absolute angel. And when I woke up this morning, Saturday, March 4th, and I looked at what time it was, and I thought, I'm not sure if I can do this today. And then I heard Jair say in my ear, in his own voice for the first time, today's the day you step into your destiny, Loren. I believe in you. You can do this. It's time to get up. So while I get you to step out of your comfort zone, I'll be right there with you this time, doing it with you. I'll be doing it with you. You see, there's no one like you. You are the only one that can do this. You're the only option. Nobody's going to give you a cheat sheet. You're the one that has to make this happen, and you have to show up. It's showtime. It's showtime. It's time for you to do this. There's no time to second guess. And let me tell you what it takes to be a leader, an entrepreneur. It takes resilience. It takes resilience. It is not for the faint of heart. It is only for the brave. It is reserved for the resilient. Most people have never calculated the cost of what it's like to step on the playing field. They see the fancy cars, right, Joe? They see the fancy parties. They see the yachts, all the great things, but they've never calculated the grit, the grind, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the pain, the sacrifice, the suffering in order to make it, in order to change your life. They never saw what it was like for Serena to get out there and hit when she was exhausted. You have to practice all the time to be the greatest of all time. That's what you have to do. You're not born with the talent. Right, Serena? You're not born with it. It's made. You get out there and you hit every day when you're tired. And all you want to do is go to bed. And you keep practicing. You keep practicing. A leader's drug is success. That's what their drug is. They don't say, I may make it. Nope. They don't say, I may make it. It's possible. Nope. They say, I absolutely, definitely, no doubt am going to be a huge success. And that's what you need to start saying to yourself. Do you hear me up there? Do you guys hear me? You have to program your brain. Yes, you have to reprogram your brain. Why are some people more successful than others? It's not about money. It's not about the upbringing. It's not about education. It's not about influence. What is it? They learn how to program their brains to be a hopeless success. To deprogram all that garbage that people have told you since you're a little person and said you can't make it. Our whole life, we're beat down by peers, friends, sometimes it's family saying, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. Why don't you just be like a whatever? Don't try to be a teacher or a doctor. Don't be a scientist. Certainly don't be the greatest tennis player of all time. Oh, or what about Cliff? Don't be one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Or Marcus Jordan here, his dad, Michael Jordan. Anybody ever heard of Michael Jordan? They didn't tell your dad didn't listen to that garbage, did he? What did he keep doing? He kept practicing. Practice. You practice till you become the greatest at what you want to do. That's what you have to do. So you have to reprogram your brain in order to succeed. How did an average guy from an average town with an average background get thousands and thousands of people to follow him and achieve all his dreams while helping thousands and thousands of others to do the same? I love you, baby. He programmed his brain for success. He programmed his brain to believe that anything was possible. And he did the same with Elizabeth, and he did the same with Don and Lisa, and he did the same thing with Amber Yang, and he did the same thing with Min Lu, and he did the same thing with Drayton and Mark Bernanke and Brett Bertelli and Sue and Catherine and Joanne and what all the other leaders here, Sharon Lawrence, he did the same thing with all of them. He convinced them to reprogram their thinking. And guess what? They're all in. They're all in. They'll do what most people, they'll do what most people won't do. So let me ask you a question. Who are you? Who are you? That's a hard question for a lot of people because sometimes it's not one we want to face. And we're not exactly who we want to be at this very moment. And that's okay because you can be somebody different in this instant, right now. Whoever you are right now doesn't have to be the person you decide to stay. You get to decide. Who are you becoming? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? And if you learn to reprogram your brain, like JR said, you can have anything you want. Anything you want, not just in Market America. It's an incredible thing. Because once you know how to do it, you can build a staircase to any goal you want. You know, the funny thing about all of you is you didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to go out and find myself a business to join. You didn't say, hey, I'm going to go search out and have a new internet business. That's what I'm looking for. No, that's not at all what happened. You didn't say that. Somebody called you up, dragged you to a meeting, and you had no idea where you were going or what you were doing. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Okay, I didn't hear you. How many of you know what I'm talking about? And some of you may have even had preconceived notions. You certainly didn't understand the business for the first time. Hell, JR invented it, and he didn't understand it the first time. And before you knew it, you met some cool people, made some new friends, tried some of our products, sold some of the products, made a couple bucks, earned a first check, and you earned deeper than you can get out. Is that what happened? 100%. And some of you are here today probably because you just got brought here last week, and what I just described is happening to you right now currently. You'll catch that one on the way home too. But here's the thing. By 1 year, 2 years, 3 years goes by, and you wonder, well, I'm not exactly where I want to be in the business. Why am I making more money? Let me tell you why you're not making any more money. It has nothing to do with the company, has nothing to do with the opportunity. It has nothing to do with even you. You haven't treated it like your calling. You don't even treat it like a career sometimes. You'll work harder for your boss for 45 years than you'll do for yourself. And listen, don't say, oh, well, Market America doesn't pay me. I can't put the hours in just because you tell me to. You ain't doing it for me. You ain't doing it for him. Do it for you. Do it because you want to change your life. Do it because making a difference in your life and that you can help other people be successful. If you just treated it like your calling, everything would change. You would act different. You would start programming your brain. And hell, you'd have a lot of fun. Because we have a lot of fun, don't we? Does anyone understand what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with the company, nothing wrong with the opportunity. All you need to do is start treating it like your calling. It's not a hobby. You've been treating it like a thing on the side. It's a part-time thing for you. And I have to tell you that the 2 to 3 year plan doesn't start when you sign the application, does it? Nope. It begins when you get in mentally. It begins when you get it in here, when you get committed. It begins when you start doing the basics, the fundamentals. Have a goal statement. Know what your why is. A possibility list. You start making phone calls. And if you're not calling a prospect or a customer, if you're not learning how to show the plan or showing the plan, and if you're not bringing somebody to the weekly meetings to see the plan, then you're not doing the 2 to 3 year plan, are you? Think about that. And your 2 to 3 clock never started. So you can't say it was the business, but here's the good news. You can do it now. You can start to do it now when you leave here today. How many of you understand what I'm saying when I say this? It's real easy to be in a room and be hyped up with a lot of people. Gosh, you got Joe in the house. One of the greatest speakers of all time. Forget about rappers. He's one of the greatest motivational speakers ever. It's the truth. It's the truth. I could listen to him all day. But listen to me. It's real easy to get in here, right, Joe, and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm fired up. I'm pumped up. Let me tell you what matters. What matters is when you go home. What matters is what happens behind closed doors. What matters is behind the scenes, the effort you put in, the time you put into it, the grit, the grind, the sweat, the tears, the after hours from 6 to midnight, because you say, it's my time. I'm going to finally do something for me. You can give yourself a fresh start. How many of you know your why now? How many of you know your why? You got to know your why. Your why makes you cry. It's hard. When Mark was talking the other day, he was talking about how you need 66 days to make a habit. Now, that surprised me because back in the day, JR and I used to believe it was 30 days to make a habit. But then I looked it up online, and it said it used to be 30 days to make a habit, but it changed in 2020 to 66 days. He was right. You know why it changed, they said? Because of COVID. People got lazy as hell and stopped working and stopped doing anything. And it took twice as much time to make anything happen. Get out of that rut. Get out of that rut. It's time to get up and go to work. It's time to make it happen. It's time to show up. Are you in or not? Are you all in or not? You got to be all in. It's time to show up. It's time to do all the right things. Ask and you shall receive. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall open unto you. But you know what? You know what? You got to ask. You got to knock. You got to seek, don't you? You got to seek. You got to ask. You got to seek and you got to knock. Does that make any sense at all to you? That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. You have to do that for you. It's a difficult conversation to have with yourself when you look in the mirror. I was teasing with Lala and Serena one day and Loren on the boat, the three of us, and we were talking about abs, and I was like, well, I went to the gym for 3 days in a row. I look in the mirror and opened up my jacket, pulled up my shirt for my girls, and I said, I don't see the abs yet. Next day I went back, Lorena, where's my abs? Now listen, you ain't gonna get no abs after 3 or 4 days. Okay? And you can't quit and say this working out doesn't work. You gotta put in more effort than that. Now I don't recommend my diet. My diet's the grief diet. Hard to eat. Not gonna lie to you and say it was any of our products. I just don't eat much anymore. But let me tell you this. You gotta show up. You can't go to the gym and see results after 1 day. Can't do it. And what happens is because you see nothing, you see no result, you can't measure it, so you quit. And you quit going to the gym and quit getting in shape, and you say it doesn't work when actually the opposite is true. And as a child, we do anything. I said this. As a child, we do anything. Come on, baby, when Olympia, when Azzy, when you learned how to walk and you were falling down, getting back up, 12 months old, back up. Joe was freaking out. She kept falling down. Azzy didn't turn to Joe and say, this walking thing's not for me. She got up again and did it again until she learned how to walk. Children keep practicing till they learn how to walk. Look, Mom, take me outside. Teach me how to ride a bike. Kids don't fall down and say, I don't want to practice riding a bike again. They get back up and they learn how to ride a bike, and then they say, look, Mom, no hands. That's what happens. And for some reason, we get older and we get afraid and we stop trying. Listen, folks, in order to swim, you got to get wet. You got to get wet. There's no other way. Jer was right. You got to practice. You got to practice a lot. The greatest in the world practice all the time. It is not about intensity. It's about consistency. And you know why most people don't stick anything out? Because consistency is boring. But it's what people like me and JR and all the leaders and the team do in order to be successful. And the Joes and the Serenas and the Cliffs and Michael Jordan and all the greats in the world, what do? They're consistent. They do the same thing over and over. And they keep getting better. And we go to the gym, and after 2 days, we don't see any abs, and we just give up. Isn't that what happened, Andrew? It's true. And we do the same thing in our relationships. We do the same thing in our relationships. We commit ourselves to nothing. In order to have a successful relationship, you have to be a man like J.R. Ridinger. In order to have a great relationship, you got to be a man like Joe. You got to show up. You got to make your wife feel important. You got to commit yourself to the act of service. Right, Rich? You got to commit yourself to the act of service. Listen to me. Your wife didn't fall in love with you because you gave her flowers. No, she didn't. She fell in love with you because you said good morning before you looked at your cell phone. She fell in love with you because when you went up to go get yourself a cup of coffee, you got her one too. That's why your wife falls in love with you. When you had a great day at work and you rush home to tell her about it, and she had an awful one, and as you went to go tell her about your great day, you stopped because she started crying about her bad day, and you never brought up your good day. That's why your wife loves you. And if you're not doing that, you're missing out. You have got to commit to the act of service and giving when it comes to love. It is not for free. It takes work and effort. And I promise you, if you really love the person you're with, turn to them right now if they're here with you and tell them you love them. Because you never know when you'll get to do that again. I love you guys down there. Love you, baby. I love you so much, Naima. Listen, you have to commit yourself to the act of a great service. Okay, you have to put in the time, the effort. And here's the funny thing about that. Thank you, Mauricio. Let's go again, one more time. Okay. When your girl is upset, you think sending a dozen roses fixes things. Doesn't. Send her 12 dozen roses. Write her 12 texts. Send her a bunch of voicemail messages. Write her beautiful notes and leave them on her bed. Then she may forgive you. Work harder. Work harder at your relationships. The reason why most marriages fall apart is because most people try as little as they try to get abs. They don't try at all. Most people just take advantage of a situation and say, I'm married, I'm cool, I'm old, I'm this, I'm that, I'll just stay in it. We're kind of okay, we're companions. We kind of like each other on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Love is so much more than that. Do you think that Market America would be here today if Jared and I didn't have the most incredible, solid, working, building love affair of a lifetime for 3.5 decades? Part of our success is our love. Part of why we're still here is our love for each other. Amber used to say, Mom, you and Dad are so weird sometimes, when she was little. And I say, why? And she'd say, I've never seen anybody like, you guys can bicker at each other over something so small for a second, and then he'll walk in the room and say, hey, baby, you want to go for a bike ride? And I'll be like, yeah, let's go. Why? Because we don't hold grudges. We never held on to anger. I have no regrets about anything except losing my husband, but I said everything I wanted to say to him every day of our life. And every day of my husband's life, it worked like this. And my girlfriends know this very well. Every night, Jared and I would go to bed. Now, naturally, Jared would go to bed a little bit earlier than me, right, Lars? And he would never go to sleep. He'd tell me he was tired, but if I didn't come in within 30 minutes, and I saved every message he's ever written me, thank you, baby. And he wrote me a text, he said, waiting for you. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for you, sweetie. And waiting for you. Keeping the bed warm if you want to come in. Then I write him back. Be right there. I'm 10 minutes away. I got to check all the doors, make sure everything's locked up. Okay. 10 minutes later, I'd get, sidetracked by something. Bed's getting cold, sweetie. Hurry up. Coming. And I get to bed. And let me tell you what every single night for 36 years, with the exception of a 4-day ski trip a year, look like. Turn over, baby. Let me hold you. Okay. I love you. Love you too. I love you more than you love me. Nope, I love you more than you love me. I love you so much. Did I tell you today I love you? Did I tell you I loved you today? I thought I told you. Yeah, but you didn't tell me enough. Okay, well, I love you 1,000,000 times. Did I tell you I like this about you today? Every day of our life, we would tell each other what we liked about each other every single night. And when we didn't like something about each other, we told each other that too, because that open communication kept us together for 3.5 decades. And we didn't just fall asleep. We didn't just fall asleep. We go to sleep. And Jared and I, everybody knows, don't sleep well. So throughout the night, Jared would say to me while I was sleeping, baby, turn over. I'm going to turn this way instead. Okay? Love you, sweetie. Love you too. Babe, can you let me put my arm underneath you? I want to put my arm around you the other way. Sure, baby. Love you too, sweetie. All night long. Sometimes 20 times a night. Now, that may seem ridiculous to you, but I miss that more than anything of my life right now. And I am so glad I had a lifetime full of it. So it's enough to keep me till I get there back with him. It's enough to hold me over till I get back there. Plus, I got a lot of big brothers who are watching out for me right now, making sure I'm safe. I'm doing all the right things, trying to take care of myself and take care of my family. Send more love letters to the people you love. Tell them that you love them more. Don't just do it once. And when you're trying to talk to people about the business of marketing America and they don't get it, change your story. Change your story. Change your conversation. Call them again. You try just once and you give up. Try again. Sometimes timing's off, guys. Timing's everything. What's wrong today could be right tomorrow. What's wrong today could be right tomorrow. You throw in the towel because somebody said to you, not now. No doesn't mean no. It just means not now. You got to go for it again. You got to keep growing. And if you do things consistently, you can achieve success in all aspects of your life. Anyone can do the business, but not everyone will. Not everyone will. And success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. I've spent the last 6 months going through papers and files and notes and found 3,000 love letters. When I tell you, if any of you have ever received an email from JR, anybody in here ever received an email from JR? Ooh, this whole front row. JR writes long emails, doesn't he? My letters were just as long, thank God. Right, Andrew? My love letters were so long. JR practiced what he preached. He talked to you about writing down his goals. He talked to you about writing down your goals. He told you to do the same thing that we did all the time. You got to write down your goals in order to succeed. You got to read them 3 times a day. You got to handwrite them. Keep them in your back pocket. I found our goals from the year we met that we did together in 1989 in JR's handwriting. $1 million net worth. A second home for he and I. A 40-foot yacht. I love how he spelled yacht. JR was never the best speller. Great thinker. Smart as hell. Spelling, not so good. Mercedes Sport Coupe. Okay, well, $1 million net worth, cha-ching, we did that. Second home, we did 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. 40-foot yacht, I'd say we achieved. Mercedes Sport Coupe bought and sold. Tennis court, he got one for his daughter. Motor coach, we decided we didn't want it. An office complex we didn't buy, but we got a great building. And a Learjet we gave up on, even though we're waiting for Mark Ashley to spend his money and buy one. Let's go, Mark. That's what's on his list. I'm waiting for him before I spend my money. Listen to me. Do these things materialize if you write them down? If you read them 3 times a day? This was the little note that Natalia and Andrew and Dana saw it when I pulled it out, and everybody started to cry because it's how he lived his life. We practiced what we preached. You're one choice, one decision away from your destiny. Which way will you go? What will you do? What will you do? Will you stay where you're at? Or will you grow? You didn't come here for nothing. You came here because you have a purpose. You have a desire. It's in you. You can do it. Nothing can stop you. Will you go all in? Will you go for it? Or will you act ashamed or embarrassed? What will you do? Look at this. I also found these photos at the same time of JR when I was finding. Look at all these. I love when JR did the ashamed approach, the embarrassed approach. Remember, he used to talk, oh, you guys trying to get in the business, and instead of being proud to be in Market America, you're like, if you just do Market America and buy some products, and I know I'll be successful. And if you do it, I'll make a whole lot of money. And the truth of the matter is that you act ashamed and embarrassed. Let me tell you something. You keep doing things consistently. JR's taught the same way for 30 years and beyond. Because look at these photos I found of us in our first company when we first met each other. Just a short 6 years before we started our company. Doing the same ashamed approach. Does J.R. Ridinger practice what he preaches? Did J.R. Ridinger do the same thing and was consistent with it? You darn right he did. Take a look. It's incredible. He did it all. He did it all. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm a level with you. It is not easy for anyone to run a company of this size. J.R. was a master. He never quit. He never gave up. He never gave in. He left everything he did right here on this field. He was one of you. A builder, a disruptor, a visionary, a leader. He never forgot where he came from. It is not easy to succeed in business. It's an awesome responsibility when you have tens of thousands of people making a full-time or part-time living with this company, and you got to make sure those checks go out weekly. Did any of you not get your check in the last 6 months since JR's passed away, or did you keep getting your checks on time? Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Over 150,000 people depend on us. 900 full-time employees, and Jared took it seriously. He took it seriously. He kept us in safe harbor. He made sure we met company regulations. He balanced it all. Because if it all fell apart, it was on him. He kept it all together and taught us well. 30 years. 30 years. Hundreds of people in other companies were sent to the graveyard, not J.R. Ridinger. Always knew how to do the right thing, the right time. Let me tell you something, folks. You've heard JR say it before. If you can't build this one, you can't build any of them. If you can't do this business, forget about the rest of them. You can't do it. This is the most efficient, highest paying company to help ordinary people become extraordinary. Period. End of story. If you want to change your life and finally get paid what you're worth, you're in the right place at the right time. You're in the right place at the right time. You've got to reprogram your brain. A billionth of a vote goes off in your mind across your cerebral cortex and says, I can do this. I can do this. Jared was the most consistent person I know. Every morning he'd wake up, we'd share what we would do for the day. We'd talk about the things we didn't want to get caught up in. Why did we do that? Because we wanted to make it clear to each other. We are there to protect each other. If any of this comes near us, we eliminate it. We met every morning before we got out of bed and talked about our wants and wishes for the day to make them happen. And let me tell you something you may not know. JR was a religious note keeper. He took notes and he made lists. And Joe Boyd and Mark Ashley, if you don't remember, let me remind you that back in 1989 and 90, JR made Mark, I, and Joe every single day for 3 years write a list, and he'd have to approve the list every hour. And let me tell you something. They're nodding yes, but it's true. That is what got us to be so successful, because that type of discipline gets you prepared for the day and for the rest of your life. And because of it, I never go to bed without making a list. Without making a list of all the things I have to do first thing in the morning. And let me tell you, what's always on my list the first thing in the morning? The hardest things. Why? Because I always tackle the hardest things every morning. Why? Because if she calls me, Serena, Lorena calls me and says, hey, you want to go grab lunch? I've already done the hardest things of the day. I can go out and do whatever I want because I'm done. I've done the hardest things for the day, so I get to do what I want the rest of the day. Those lists are your GPS for the day. He'd work out. He'd ride his bike 3 miles. He'd swim 20, 30 laps. Every day, JR was consistent. Stop being comfortable being uncomfortable, folks. It ain't comfortable. It ain't comfortable living in the comfort zone. It's really uncomfortable. People are not born leaders. You can learn to do it just like they did. You got to decide if you're going to treat it like a calling. Are you hungry? Are you hungry? You know what happens is most people aren't hungry. They're not hungry enough. They're not hungry enough. You see, when you're no longer full, you get angry, you want it. But when you've eaten too much, you get tired and lazy. You better get hungry. You better get hungry. You better go for it. When you're full, you sleep, you procrastinate. You got to be inconvenienced in order to do something special. In order to do something special, you got to be inconvenienced. In order to win, you got to stay hungry. Bottom line. And the older we get, fear sets in. It sets in. And the problem is you feel like you have to know everything before you do anything, and you end up doing nothing. I love the person who always says, I am going to learn everything first, Rich. Got to learn everything. The only problem is you take so much time to learn that before you know it, you're really smart, broke, and dead. You got to get up and do something. It's called experiential learning. It's called practice. You got to get out there and do it. When your team sits out there with you at lunch break out there, and they're out there teaching people in the middle of the afternoon, and I walk out there, and Team Philadelphia is in a full training at lunchtime. Full training. I love you guys. Let me tell you something about you, Drayton. I have never met anybody walking around with a camera, and I look up to you so much, walking around documenting your success. You know why? I want to be a part of your future. I want to be a part of your future. Anyone who's documenting their success like you do with camera guys walking around, it's going to be so big. Please let me be a part of it. It's so special. I love you. So proud of you guys. You keep doing the right thing. Look at this group behind you guys. Turn around and look at them. Don't be jelly of them. Love them. Embrace them. Give it up for them. They are special. They're hungry. They're starving. They're hungry. They're so hungry. And let me tell you something. I love you guys so much. I do. I love you guys. And I love you so much. And JR and I invest a lot of time with them, and I still work with them. In fact, Amber and Johnson Lee and Tom and Drayton and his team came down and saw me just a couple months after JR passed away. And what did we do? We worked. We put in the time. We put in the hours. Because there was people who wanted to work in. The only thing that works for me right now, and let me tell you something, you better watch out, because this brain, just like Kevin's suit, is extra sharp. This brain is so sharp because the only thing I can do really well right now is work. Work. I can work really well, which means you're in good hands. We're going to do big things. Big things. We're going out big. We're going to do bigger things than we've ever done. And you know what's interesting about JR? And you can ask any one of my friends here in the front row because I've all seen it. I think Mark and Andrew and maybe Mary read it. When I came back from Croatia, JR had left 4 memos, right, Kevin? 4 memos. 4 memos. 2 JR Ridinger from JR Ridinger and typed all the way out, 20 pages each. But on each one of them said for Loren, highlighted, to read later. Now, don't get confused. Jared wasn't sick, and I'm going to go through that in a minute. Jared just was a planner. Every one of those memos were about certain things. One of them was about inflation. How to handle an organization during inflation. 20 pages on it. Yes or no, Kevin Buckman? Another one was about Loren Ridinger. How do you handle things if BV gets out of whack? You must keep BV at a certain place. Spent 20 pages explaining it to me. And the other 2 memos were detailed org charts of how to do things for the next 30 to 50 years and what our plan would be. Am I lying to them, Kevin? Kevin, can you come up here real quick with me? My partner, Kevin Buckman, who did an outstanding job this weekend. An outstanding job, Kevin Buckman. Sounded like JR. Acted like JR. Acted like JR, sounded like him, wearing a suit today. I even dressed him in JR's Tom Ford suit, Amber. Listen, am I lying about the memos?
No, absolutely. I read
Can we
all
turn
four
his
of them.
mic on?
On? Yeah.
Now we're on.
Read all four of them. Everything.
Incredible.
Exactly. Andrew, you were there. You read.
My husband was an organizer. He was a planner. He thought of the future. And if I brought up one little thing to him, I remember, now I know why he writes the memos. Because prior to August convention, I wrote him a text saying, I'm distraught, I'm confused, I'm worried about inflation, how do we handle things, how do we handle products? I want to talk to you about lower priced products, coming out with products like the pain product that's $19.95 or something. I wanted to come out with less expensive products. I wanted to make sure that we accommodated what we were seeing happen in society. And I wrote him about these things, and he did not want to bog me down right before convention. So what did he do? He wrote me 4 25-page emails and never gave them to me, but left them perfectly stapled on his desk that I found and shared with my team when I arrived home. Now, JR put in the big rocks first, didn't we?
Yes, you did.
We put the big rocks in first. Now, what are the big rocks? When you put your dreams in first. When you put your dreams in first, and stop making excuses and doing the small things every day that don't add up to anything. And you know what I'm talking about. The people who drive you crazy, the people who go raining on your parade, the people who upset you, the people who don't believe in you. You let them get you down. You listen to them. You listen to your boss. You listen to your friends saying, oh, you'll never make it in that Market America thing. Stop getting so consumed with what other people think and start putting yourself first. Put the big rocks in first, because when you put the big rocks in first, all types of great things happen. But what happens when we don't put the big rocks in first, Kevin?
Well, this is what, can you hear me? Okay, this is what we really do. This is why we're all here, or we ended up here. Some of us have addressed it. But for most of us, like myself, for 15, 16 years prior to 1992, okay, we all did the same thing. What we did was we didn't put the big rocks in first. This is what we did. This jar right here represents what? It represents all the time that we all have, the great equalizer, just like JR said. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 168 hours a day. Now, there's all kinds of things that we all have to do. And then what we did was I had, you've got the first thing is you got your life essentials. You got to eat, you got to sleep, you got to breathe, you got to brush your teeth, you got to put your makeup on, whatever it may be. But these are daily essentials. And that, this is represented by water. So what do? We pour the water in. We got to make sure we do all those. See? And we got 8 to 10 hours of sleep.
Right? Sleeping, eating, drinking, grooming, dressing. Some of you spend way too much time getting dressed. I get sometimes people call me and my girlfriend's like, hey, they'll call us and like, what are you wearing to the party? The last thing we think about is what we're wearing to the party till 5 minutes before the party. That's how you got to start thinking. You put way too much energy into that. Put more time into you.
And the other thing, the other things that we want to do is what? First thing we go to, we did all this stuff and we think leisure. We think, what do we want to do? Okay, what do we want to do? Okay, so sand is represented, okay, by the leisure. We gotta, we gotta go to the movies. We gotta socialize with the right people. We gotta socialize with the wrong people. We gotta watch TikTok. We gotta binge watch on Netflix. All the things, because we want to reward ourselves. We want success. We want to have pleasure without paying any price. So this is represented by all that leisure and everything we want to do, which is
pour it in there, baby. Get it all in there.
I want to make
You like to play a lot,
I
socialize too much. Too much Netflix, too many
right.
parties.
I want to play softball.
No
on
time
the
to be
weekend,
successful.
Hang out, drink beer with my buddies.
Well, you got to go to work, Kevin.
Yeah, we do. So we got to go to work. We got to pay the bills. Okay, we got a job, and the job is represented by
the pebbles.
The pebbles. A little bit bigger, more important.
Pop that in.
Got to pay the bills.
You hate that boss, but you'll go to work for him every day like that. Those pebbles right there representative of the back and forth through the rut every single day. Up, Well, darn it. You out of space. Ain't no time for the big rocks, Kevin. Ain't no time for the big dreams.
I never realized this till I saw him do this. It was an aha moment. It was unbelievable. So now, what about my big rocks? What about becoming debt-free? What about career change?
Can't fit it in there.
What about being healthier?
Yep, you can't fit nothing, and those days are over for you, honey.
What about
Watch that
time?
Tom Ford suit, babe.
What about time with
Look
my
at that,
family?
you're out of space.
See, it's there.
No more
it doesn't
time
work.
left.
Doesn't work.
No
But
more
see, I
space.
never realized that. Never realized it. I did it exactly this way, and that's how I got where I was. See, but you got to make a change. You can't do it. You got to do something different, you know. But most of us, this is what we do.
But let's show them what it looks like when they do it right.
Yeah. Can we have
Let's
that?
roll that video, JR and I. Let's see what happens when we do it right.
More grandchildren.
What are you doing?
More grandchildren.
These are our whys.
More
These
directors.
are our whys and our dreams and our goals.
More directors.
The things she puts on the dream board. The shopping annuity is one of those rocks.
More vacations my husband will take me on. More hugs and kisses, not so much work from my husband. Now, I'm putting my big rocks in first. These are my dreams. Now, this is the work that you have to do every day for somebody else, back and forth, wasting 45 years of your life. So if you put your rocks in first, your dreams in first, you still have time to do the work you have to do for somebody else. And guess what? It all still fits. If you do your dreams first, put your dreams first, you can still fit everything in. If you put your dreams first, you can still work.
Gotta sleep.
Now,
Sleep less.
I don't like
You
to
gotta
sleep a lot, but this is a lot of sleep. For those of you who like to sleep a lot, here we go. You can still sleep a lot and work for somebody else miserably for 45 years. If you just wake up a little bit earlier, like I said this morning, and put yourself first.
Shake your day up.
Put some dreams in first. The dreams coming to the top. Look at that.
Shake the day up. Shake that day up.
Hold on. We're not done yet, Anthony. You see what happened when we took the boxing class last week?
Gotta sleep.
Now, this is what? You're partying? What is this? No, I just did sleep. Okay, getting ready, whatever. Eating, leisure, wasting time with people who don't care about your success.
Brushing your teeth.
Brushing your
MA.
teeth. Please brush
Shopping
your teeth.
annuity, toothpaste.
And guess what?
Making
Look,
money.
all of it still fits if you put your dreams
Miracle.
in first.
Miracle. Miracle.
Ah!
What do you think? Magic. Magic.
The video.
The same amount of things in your day all fit into the jar when you put your dreams first and your goals first.
Yeah.
They'll still all fit in, but the other way, you never get your dreams, your goals, and all that stuff that I talked about that you are going to do was going to happen, but you ran out of time. Don't let it happen.
Don't let that happen.
Put your dreams first.
You know, change is a choice. Change is a choice. You either choose to or you choose not to. But change is possible for everyone. You just got to decide and make the decision that you're willing to pay the price. You're willing to be inconvenienced to be successful. Success, you're going to experience inconvenience. But you got to make the choice. You got to change the way you do things. You got to change the way you think. And this was an unbelievable demonstration. If you want something different, you got to do something different. So, thank you.
I love
Enjoyed
you, baby.
it.
Thank you
Love
for
too.
that. You got to put the big rocks in first, guys. You got to put the big rocks in first. It's. I know it seems impossible. I know it seems impossible. I know it seems out of reach for you. It's in your mind that you think it's ridiculous to think that you could be an Elizabeth Weber, or you could be a Don and Lisa, or a Drayton, or a Brett, or Amber. Nothing could be further from the truth. That is the voice of your ego. If you listen to it, there will always be someone it tells you that can do it better than you. You have to reprogram your brain. We never think it can be us. We never think we're good enough. But I'm here to tell you that Jerry and I are living proof that you can be anything you want. You don't have to live in other people's lives. Everything around you is made up of people that are no smarter than you. Then you can be a builder of your own life, a life that other people can live in. You don't have to live in other people's lives. You can build a life. You don't just have to live one. You can find opportunities. You got the best one right in front of you. And always be the best version of yourself. You cannot write off a big dream because you're afraid or you won't make time for it. You got to do something right now. You got to stop waiting for something to happen on your time clock. Nothing happens according to plan ever. Everything goes awry. You got to be able to learn how to pivot. You got to be able to learn how to pivot. I'm telling you, it's an art to it. You got to be able to learn how to move a different way if you have to. Things don't go as planned. And if you don't learn how to do that, you're robbing yourself. The only time is right now. And your greatest wins and your greatest accomplishments are still ahead of you, just like mine are. The person who says they're waiting till Monday, we've never heard of them before. They're not famous. We don't know their name. It's not full-time. It's not part-time. It's what you do with your time. And there comes a day when you won't wake up anymore. You don't know when that is, how it will happen. What will you do with the dash? Do you think that on August 30th, I expected that to happen? I was on vacation for the first time in 5 years with JR on a beautiful yacht. The place he wanted to go. I did not want to go to Croatia. It was on his list. He wanted to go. We rented a beautiful yacht, right, Mark? Right, Truman? We had the most incredible first 2 days. I remember when we got there, JR looked at me and said, "Baby, I can't believe we made it." We got done with the 30th anniversary. He ran on the stage for 3 days, for 3 hours a day, and performed the greatest performance of a lifetime. The greatest performance of a lifetime. Just 2 weeks before. Got on the stage. Got off the stage. Got home. The week before, by the way, just 4 or 5 days before we went to convention, he heard Aiden say he wanted to go to Disney World, Star Wars. Jer's the kind of guy who likes to make dreams come true. He said, "Pop up, I want to go to Star Wars, to Disney World on my birthday, go to the Star Wars Hotel. I want to go to Savvy's workshop and build lightsabers." And I was like, "Well, let's do it right after conference. We'll go for a couple days right after conference." And of course, Pop-Up said, "Loren, that's not good enough. We got to go." Serena helped hook me up with the guy there because it was all sold out. And I said, well, Jared, we'll put them and we'll send them there and we'll see him after conference. He said, no, I want to get him a plane. It's his birthday. I want him to invite all his friends. I said, okay, well, we'll get him a plane, have all his friends go. And that morning, he said, pack your bags. We're going to Disney World. We'll be back tonight. He got on that plane, went to Disney World. We walked for 12 hours, got back on the plane, got home 4 days later, showed up at the convention, landed from the convention, got on a plane to Savannah, went to Jen and Ben's wedding, had a great time, came home, packed up, and went on the trip that we've been dreaming of. Hadn't been away in a long time. Jared loves the water, loves yachts. Pulled up on that tender. The plane was delayed for 2 days, finally got there, and he looked at Mark and I and said, I can't believe you made this happen. So grateful. Felt so accomplished. 30 years we had just celebrated. And those first 2 days were just incredible. We laughed, we ate, we walked, we talked. And then the day before Jared passed, I remember that day that he said, I'm so happy we're here. I'm so happy we're together. And I love you. And I know how hard it's been. We pulled off this convention, and right now we're going to just enjoy our life for a little bit of time. And I thought, okay, baby. Just won the Super Bowl. We're going to do it. And that next morning, we woke up, and it was like 5:30 in the morning in Croatia. And I remember he couldn't sleep. And that wasn't surprising. It's on a different time zone. We'd just gotten there, so it's, 8-hour time difference. And I remember I felt him reach over to me, and he said, baby, I can't sleep. I love you. I love you so much. And I said, I love you too. And then he said, you're my best friend. And I said, you're my best friend too. But then he said, you make me so happy. Which is not something Jared said every day, because we're together all the time. So to say I'm so happy is not something you say every day. You just kind of live in what you're doing. But I remember I used to question him all the time. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you full? Are you hungry? Because Jared was always hungry. He always wanted more. Not more things. Jared never wanted for things. Don't get confused. He wanted more people to achieve success. That's all he cared about. He worked for the psychic income of people being successful. It's what he lived for. And I said, I make you so happy? And he said, you do. I said, I'm so happy to hear that. And I said, we're going to leave tomorrow, and we're going to fly to Madrid. And Amber's decided to meet us. And I remember, and he was so sad Amber wasn't coming on this trip. So sad. So sad. He wanted Amber and the kids to be there because we'd never been away from Amber and the kids. He didn't like being away from them. But he kept saying to me, all those first 48 hours, when are they going to come? Are they going to come? Are they going to come? But then that final day, he said, why don't you tell her not to come? I didn't understand that, and I thought that was strange. He said, it's only a few more days. Let's spend some time together. Okay. But I hadn't told Amber that yet, of course. He said, I'm going to go upstairs if that's okay with you. I'm not feeling my best. I'm going to get something to eat. I said, absolutely, I'll go with you. He said, no, I want you to sleep. It's 5:30 in the morning. I said, I don't care. Now, I tell you all this so you can eliminate any gossip that's ever been out there. I want you to understand something about J.R. Riding. He was the most healthiest person ever. He worked out every day. He had just had his blood test done. He just had a full checkup. All you ever saw him struggle with is he had to have a little bit of knee work done from an old football injury and falling out of a tree several times with the children. Jared was never sick. He was healthy. His parents lived till 98, 99. His grandmother lived till 104. And Jared Ridinger should be here till 100. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a scientist. And I can only guess it was one thing that he had never had COVID, but he had the 4th booster 4 weeks before he passed away. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But that's neither here nor there. I won't go down that rabbit hole. Well, I tell you this. We had a beautiful day out on the water, over the falls. He was grateful, thankful, expressed how happy he was to be there, expressed love multiple times that day. Normally I get it a few times a day. It was extra. And then we got back on the boat, and he asked me to, saw a little store, and he said, would you mind stopping at that little store and pick up some shark teeth for the boys? I said, sure. I went to go get the shark teeth with Mark and Truman. I got a text from him, and he said, how long do you think you'll be gone? I said, I'll be back in 15 minutes. And he said, okay, that's 1:05. Now, Jared's never done that to me before. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to the boat. And I did. And we were on a call, and I saw him take a deep breath, and a flash. I saw him take a deep breath, and I said, what, are you okay? Why are you taking a deep breath? He said, I'm fine. And that was J.R. Ridinger's last breath. Now, let me tell you something. He was healthy. He was happy. Something else went on, and only God knows. But let me tell you something. He lived the dash. He lived the dash to the fullest. There's nothing about him that would have ever changed anything about what he did. He didn't want to go. He didn't get a memo. He didn't get notification. He didn't get a notice that said, hey, a few days before, it's going to be your last few days. He might have gotten a little whisper that morning because he was extra sentimental and extra sweet. He might have gotten a little whisper that he wasn't feeling his best, or maybe he was a little taken back that he wasn't feeling his best, because Jared was healthy as hell. He could outlive us all. He could outrun us. We used to have a joke around us, around the team. Jared would outlive us all. No question. Mark's right. No question. And in 1 second, my life changed. In one single less than a second, everything I've ever loved was taken from me. Everything I've ever understood. I've lived with one person since I'm 18. I lost my mother at the age of 21. I don't know anything else but J.R. Ridinger. And your life changes in an instant, and you cannot change anything about it from that moment on. And I remember having to hold back telling my child till I could get married to her, so somebody would be there to watch over her till I couldn't get him home. And I sure as hell wasn't leaving Croatia without my husband. Not a chance. And they told me it could be a month. I said, let me tell you something. He's my husband, not yours. You don't need him, but I sure do. He's going home with me. And I'm not leaving till he can fly in that same plane home with me. And let me tell you something. That's exactly what we did. We waited. We fought. Mark went to the embassy every single day, and thank God for friends in high places who called the embassy. In 5 days, Mark had us out of there on a plane home, landed back home, reunited with our family. And we did it together, and we brought JR home with us. But he didn't get a memo. Nobody gave him a memo. Nobody told him that it was time. He never got word the week before. I never got notice that day. Never. Never got notice. Everything changed in an instant. And Mark, that whole day, between Amber and the embassy, took care of everybody on the phone. Truman handled everything for me. And then next morning I wanted to go visit JR. And I went there and I changed his clothes and put on his favorite shoes and brought him his favorite sunglasses and laid with him for a long, long time. And there was a little woman there. She was crying. She was from America too. She had just lost her husband. Sitting in this beautiful open area with the wind blowing. And she said, "Is that your husband?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I lost mine too." She said, "I'm just so sad we never got to do all the things that we wished we would do." And all I kept thinking about was how thankful I was that JR got to do all the things he wanted to do. That he lived the dash. He lived the dash. Wouldn't have changed anything about his life except he wanted to be here longer with you. He was angry with time. Did you ever notice that about JR? Angry, passionate. You got to beat the clock. You got to keep going. You can't quit. Let me tell you something. With all the pain I'm experiencing, this company's best days are still ahead of us. And your best days are still ahead of you. You got to stop waiting. You got to stop wishing. You got to start right now. Here's what I know. Here's what we gain in life. Everything will disappear one day. Hopefully you'll have put away some money for your family. Let me tell you something. Serena one day sent me a scripture. In that scripture had a link. In that link, funny how things work, and I'm wrapping. I'm coming in for a landing. I'm going to bring us home soon. I promise you 5 minutes to go. Thank you. 5 minutes to go. Serena sent me a scripture one day, and as I was reading it, there was an advertisement in it for a grief counseling session. Now I'm in grief counseling. I do it a lot. But it was a therapy class together with other people, which I had not done. I listened for an hour on that call. I listened to other men, women crying for their husbands or their wives. But I realized something. They didn't just lose the love of their life like I did. Many of them lost their lives. They lost their homes, their cars, the way they lived, their hope, their faith. They lost it all. Because somebody didn't think about them before they left. Somebody didn't put themselves ahead. Somebody didn't put the big rocks in. Somebody didn't put the big dreams in. Everything we gain in life will disappear one day. Hopefully one day you'll have put away some money for those you love. Because those people lost more than just the people that their loves lives. They lost their homes, their cars, their way to live. And all I kept thinking about when I was on that call listening was how grateful I am for what JR did for this incredible company. And what JR said when he said this company is bigger than him. This company is bigger than him because the legacy of residual income will live on for the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Period. And when you go, you have to ask yourself, what was in your heart? What was it? You can sit down for 2 more minutes. What was in your heart? What was it that you valued? What added meaning to your life? Where'd you travel? What'd you do for fun? Who was your person, man? Who was your person? What was your passion? Your purpose? Will your book be powerful? Will your book be powerful and compelling? Or will it be filled with empty pages that never had a story written on it? What kind of impact will you leave behind? You will certainly fail in life at what you don't want to do. So you may as well take a chance on yourself on doing what you love. Because time's running out. And as JR said, everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. And when God calls, there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing we can do about it. You got to stop not believing in you. There's a shortage of people not believing in themselves. Don't just live a life of success, live a life of significance. You can be anything you want to be. Anything you want to be, you can decide differently right now. You are more than enough. No matter how difficult it gets, I have witnessed success take place here for more than 30 years. Anything is possible. I said this before, time moves slowly but passes quickly. Life's a short trip. It's here to be lived. You got to live every day as if it's your last. You got to become the best version of yourself. You got to live the best version of yourself. I'm going to jump ahead here. The only place that fear exists is in the thoughts of our future. We're a product of our imagination. Those thoughts mostly that never ever existed or never will exist. If you saw regret up close and personal, you may be scared to do something. What we can be, we must be. Great life doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. You got to stop with the language of the poor. I'll try it for a few days. I'll give it 30 days, Joe, and see what happens. Come on, you got to get a better game plan than that. You got to do more. You're more focused on where you're staying rather than where you want to go, and you got to change it now. You got to let that voice in your head wake up that genius within you and say, you know what? I'm the one who's going to do it, and you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Let me tell you something. Every living cell for one reason, has one reason, and that's to grow, doesn't it? Every living cell lives for one reason, and that's to grow. But you can be, you must be. You see, we have the dignity of choice. We have the dignity of choice. A tree doesn't grow halfway, does it? It doesn't grow halfway. It doesn't say, I've grown halfway, enough is enough. It keeps growing. And because we have the dignity of choice, we stop growing. The choices are real clear. You're going to move forward or backwards into safety. Are y'all in? Are y'all in? It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. From the moment we're born, we begin to die. Sad, isn't it, when you think about it like that? I hope you use Jair's life and his death to move you to your destiny. I do. I know I will. I know I will. I'm so lucky, I'm so fortunate that he picked me. I'm so lucky. Listen, time is slow while you wait, fast when you're late, deadly when you're sad, short when you're happy, endless when you're in pain, long when you feel bored. Every time is determined by your feelings and conditions and not by the clocks. You hold remarkable power in your hands. If you reprogram your brain and you start using and living by the word of commitment and consistency, your journey has now just begun. You are unique and extraordinary. You can change the world. You can still push yourself to do this. You see, your feelings are not a choice. Your behavior and thoughts are always a choice. They just are. Success is not a comfortable procedure. You have to get inconvenient. You have to get uncomfortable being comfortable. If you ever want to work hard and you're not afraid of it, you can do it. And I don't care if you have to inch your way. You got to bet on you. You've believed in everyone else your whole life. You support everyone else. You'll clap for everyone else, stand up for everyone else, sing for everybody else, go bake cookies for everybody else. When are you going to bet on you? When are you going to bet on you? uncomfortable things and paths take us to the most beautiful places. And that's hard for me to process at a time like this. But I know one thing for sure. We are well on our way. Big things are going to go happen. I want you to go with us. I want you to do it with us. I want you to be careful what you think about, because it can happen. Make sure you love it. Make sure you remember that you are possible. Every moment you have to do what you're meant to do. You have to take that determination. You have to go for it. You have to stop being afraid and go for it and just do it. Don't wait until all you learned. Just start doing. Don't look for a shortcut. There are none. Learn the system and work it. Don't take anything home with you unless you plan to do something with it. Doesn't matter what you say to us in here. What matters is what you do when you get home, behind closed doors, when you're alone. What kind of work will you put into your purpose? Because I got to tell you something, it's got to be personal. It's got to be personal. You can do it for your family, your kids, your grandkids, but let me tell you something, it starts with you. It all starts with you. You'll have to make the changes. And as I was going through JR's bag the other day, a letter fell out, and it said this. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I found it difficult to change the world, so I tried to change my nation. When I found I couldn't change the nation, I began to focus on my town. I couldn't change the town, and as an older man, I tried to change my family. And now as an old man, I realize that the only thing I can change is myself. And I had to start with me. And suddenly I realized that if long ago I had changed myself, I could have had an impact on my family. And if I had an impact on my family and I could have had an impact on our town. And their impact could have changed a nation and could have indeed changed the world. It starts with you. It starts with you. You just got to do it. You got to get married to the reality that you are the only option, that you're going to break the barriers, that you're going to be the first in your family, that you're going to break the boundaries, that you'll be the first millionaire that your family has ever seen, because you can do it. You're not going to let anyone pass you by. That the process may be messy, but your mess will be your message. You got to rise up right now and focus on your gift. You can and you will. And if you came from a place of nothing, you're in the perfect place to start. And you got to start to execute right now. And you got to stop asking yourself if you can do this and start telling yourself that you're the one. You're the one who can do it and make the rest of your life the best of your life. And that's what I'm going to do with you, because you got to do it because you can do it. You're going to be the first person to break those generational curses in your family, break barriers and boundaries. You're going to break the cycle. You're going to be the first to succeed, and you're going to stop right now. You're going to do it because you're going to be the first person, because the only fight going on is the one in your mind. And I need you to change your mentality. I hope this weekend rejuvenated you. I hope you needed it as much as I did. And I hope you know I'm here to stay. And I hope you know that this company is stronger than it's ever been. And all we have is time, but we can never get any more of it. We'll never have enough, and it's later than you think. And what you get will never make you happy, but who you become will make you happy. Who you become will make you happy. Today will never happen again. Today will never happen again. Can we play? By the way, I want you to save yourself. I want to play Jared's favorite story right now. I want you to save yourself. Save the starfish. You're going to rewrite your life right now, because today will never, ever happen again. Can we play this starfish story?
The little boy is walking down the beach line, and there's a mercury tide that comes in very high and goes out very fast, very low. And the beach is covered with starfish, 10,000s of them. And he's walking down the beach feeling bad that these starfishes are going to suddenly have their life ended. And they did nothing wrong. Caught in a moment. When he says, I'm going to save them. I'm going to save them. But there's 10,000 of them. He didn't care. He didn't even think about that. He went down and started throwing them back in the water. Didn't really know them, but he knew that they were alive, and this wasn't meant to be. An elder of the community was sitting having breakfast. He said, I wonder what that kid's doing. He's crazy. He can't get this cleaned up. And he walked down faster than the kid and caught up with him. He said, son, what are you doing? He says, I'm saving the starfish. It's not fair. Their life shouldn't be over yet. He says, what are you, nuts? There's 10,000 of them here. What difference does it make? What difference are you going to make? You're not going to even get a fraction of them. He said, well, let me tell you something. It made a difference to that one. And it made a difference to that one. And it made a difference to that one. And it made a difference to that one. We can make a difference to that one, and that one, and that one, and 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. We can do it. We're committed to doing it. And all we have to do is come from love.
All we have to do is come from love. And so I refuse to end this event with doing what Jared did every single year. Because he got sick and tired of being sick and tired. He was never going to let an alarm clock ever again be the thing that woke him up, that told him he wasn't free. So when we finally broke free of the alarm clock, he told you he had a ritual with me, Amber, and him, and then with his grandkids later, that he would never be a slave to that clock again. That every year, every month, on a certain day, that you'll hold a ritual, and Joe and the corporate team, and Brandy and Mark and Andrew and Stephen, everybody I know has agreed to do the same ritual, that we will not be bound by an alarm clock, that we won't be told what time we have to wake up, what we have to do because of alarm clocks anymore, that we deserve to be free. So put that down, because I'm an angry woman. Watch out. And break the alarm clock. Butch that thing up. Break that thing. Live your life. Be free. Do what you want to do. Because you deserve to. You deserve it. You deserve all you. You deserve everything you want. I hope you go for it. I hope you finally say, this is it. That I'm going to be so much more. And I hope you know how much JR and I love you. And I hope you know JR is only me and you forever, baby. We're going to be a team for the rest of our life. Forever, every single day of my life, I'll talk to you as Serena reminded me, you and I are going to be together again. So right now, you stay with me, okay? I'll be in charge right now and take care of you. I'll be your backbone through this. Okay, we're going to do this together. I love you guys. I don't want you to quit. I want you to show up for yourself. I know you can do this. I know you can do this. I want you to hear one more thing. JR and I believe in you so much. I want you to keep growing, but there's only one person who can close this show. JR, take it away. I love you guys. The corporate team, can you come up here? My family, corporate team, Amber, Serena, everybody, let's go.
Would it be a bestseller, or would it be thrown in the attic and collect dust?
Come on.
Or would it be
Let me get my family up here.
Inspiring story about somebody who rose above adversity and made it and helped other people make it and lived an incredible life. The commonality of humanity is to do better and have a better life. Isn't that it? Don't we all share that? That's what all humanity shares. We're always transforming ourselves. We're like a chameleon. We reinvent ourselves. We change with the times. The greatest power in the world is you sitting in this room. You ever see a hamster run on a treadmill? You think you're going somewhere. You have to get off. Disruption creates opportunity. You got to stabilize yourself.
This right here, tell me why, goes out to everyone that has lost someone that they truly love.
Let me tell you why this company exists today. It's because people got in the wheelbarrow when there was nothing to believe in. There's a whole lot to believe in today. The question is, are you going to get in the wheelbarrow? You got to prime the pump. You have to fill the bean jar.
That life ain't always what it seemed to be. Words can't express what you mean to me. Even though you're gone, we still a team. Through your family, I'll fulfill your dreams.
Your life has been controlled by this. What is this? I challenge each and every one of you to get rid of this alarm clock. When you get to that point in your mind and you step out of your comfort zone and you release yourself from prison in your own mind and you go out of your mind in order to be able to use your head, you're coming alive. You are free. All we got is time, and the only time is now. What are you going to do? When somebody makes up their mind and believes they determine the future, people are waking up.
Till the day we meet again, in my heart is where I keep you, friend. Memories give me the strength I need to proceed, strength I need to believe.
I cannot take credit for this company. There was a lot of special moments that happened, which I call magic moments, where somebody didn't know what the future was going to be. And they had to reach way down deep inside and look at who they were and what they were going to do and take a leap of faith. Loren looked at me one day and said, "Why are you going to do this for somebody else again? You believe in it so much. It's such a brilliant idea. You're so talented. Why don't you do it yourself so it's done right?" I said to Mark and Loren, maybe this is an idea ahead of its time. I'm running out of money. Mark came to me crying. He says, "Don't lose the dream. I'll work at the house. I'll pack the boxes. Just hold on. Go out and make it happen." Marty came to me. He said, "Two of your guys have jumped ship and they tried to get me to put money up. I told them where to go because I believe in you." And these two guys that thought they could copy our company and our idea went to Dennis. He said, "Dennis, man, we can do the same thing when we can do it better." Dennis grabbed the guy by the shirt, threw him up against the wall, and said, "Don't you steal my dream." I hope that you get that synapse in your cerebral cortex, that magic moment, that epiphany, that realization that can change your life. I look at each day like, what if I wasn't around anymore? Am I doing what I want? here we are. We made it. We can change the world. When you think about the last 30 years, it's been an amazing journey. Tremendous feats. We fundamentally changed an industry, and we did this together. It's become one team with one dream, and the whole became greater than the sum of the parts. You are here at a special moment, all because we're connected. Knowledge is only power if you use the knowledge. How successful it is depends on your belief. When you really have your identity right, you have to hiss about it because it's what you're meant to be. Keep hissing, okay? There's a lot of pits to hiss in. And you made me one big pit to hiss in tonight. It's a blessing. And I want to tell you what the reality of Market America is. When people say, what is Market America? This is Market America right here. This moment. This moment. The people, the belief, the friendship, the community, the entrepreneurial power. And I talk about magic moments, folks. You'll have many magic moments when you don't know what the future holds, when the future's uncertain. And it's all about belief. And we're always there for each other. We share a common mission, a philosophy, a goal, and we encourage each other rather than discourage each other. I would like to make history. It's my dream. I've always been on true north to one goal. And that's to fill this place with directors. I really believe that we can do it. You must succeed so that other people can realize their dreams. And tonight is a magic moment because you brought your passion, your belief, and your hopes and dreams back again to make it happen. I conclude with saying, I really believe in you, and you are unbelievable. So I guess I believe in the unbelievable.
We love you guys. Keep growing. We believe in you. Until August, we'll see you again soon. Go make it happen. We love you so much. Thank you for the weekend. Thank you for your love. Thank you for everything. Forever grateful for you and all your beautiful messages. Thank you so much. Thank you.